Welcome to a special edition of Connect 3. The Bible gives us direction that we should give honor to whom honor is due. So again, this year we are celebrating the rich ethnic diversity that took root as Spirit-empowered black ministers made a lasting impact on our church in Florida. Bishop Nairn Dean, along with David and Gia Roberts, have thoughtfully prepared a series of inspirational videos filled with historical insights. These videos will be aired on Fridays over the next 4 weeks. The link will be shared in my Friday email and will be available on the state Facebook page, website, and mobile app. This year, Bishop Dean will highlight the lives and ministries of 3 pioneering leaders. The first one is Bishop Daniel Nairn. He was born in 1906 and he migrated from the small Bahamian island of San Salvador to Pahokee, Florida in 1924 to work in the sugarcane fields under a special labor contract between the Bahamian and the U.S. governments. He accepted the Lord during a service held at the labor camp in Pahokee and later moved to Hollywood, Florida, where he became a part of organizing the Hollywood Church of God of Prophecy. He was also appointed as the church's pastor, and he served there several years before being transferred to Miami #1 Church in 1950. During his time in Miami, listen to this, he was instrumental in launching the first Church of God of Prophecy weekly radio program in the city. He pastored there until his passing of 1957. The second pioneer he'll highlight will be Bishop Arthur Wilson Sr. He was born in 1927. He was a native of Miami who accepted the Lord in 1950 and immediately dedicated himself to evangelistic work. In 1954, he established a mission in Opelika, Florida, which was formally organized as a church in 1956. Herman Dean was appointed as its pastor while Bishop Wilson was reassigned to lead the Key West Church. He later served at West Hollywood Church, now known as Sure Foundation, before concluding his pastoral ministry with 32 years of service at the Hallandale Church. Bishop Arthur Wilson entered his eternal reward on March 17th, 2014. Then lastly, but certainly not least, Bishop Herman Ezekiel Dean. Wow, what a man. Born on November 3rd, 1910 in Mortimer's, Long Island, Bahamas, Bishop Herman Ezekiel Dean first heard the word and received the Lord while traveling on a small sailboat to nearby Crooked Island. Upon returning home, he began preaching in his community, leading in-home services and roadside meetings. Soon a church building was established, marking the beginning of his ministry. And I'd like to say I've been privileged to visit both that church and Bishop Dean's birthplace. What an honor to have been there. Seeking greater opportunities, Bishop Dean left his family and traveled to Florida, where he worked in the fruit groves, again under a labor contract between Bahamas and the U.S. government. In 1955, he moved his entire family to Florida, and he was immediately appointed by State Bishop M.S. Curry to pastor the newly organized Opelika Church, now our Miami Gardens or Love Fellowship. Throughout his ministry in Florida, Bishop Dean served as district bishop for many years and pastored 6 churches. Opelika, again, Love Fellowship, Belglade, Fort Lauderdale, Hallandale, Homestead, and finally Miami #1, where he faithfully served for 31 years. Bishop Herman Dean concluded his earthly journey on February 7th, 2015, at the remarkable age of 104. I had the privilege of meeting Bishop Herman Dean in 2014 at the International Assembly. What a man, and what pioneering lives you're going to hear about over the next 4 weeks. I'm glad you've joined us, and I hope these will be insightful and inspiring as you endeavor to lead Florida forward.
February is celebrated as Black History Month throughout the United States of America. The Church of God of Prophecy continues to be proud of the role that many of our Black brothers and sisters played in developing its movement. That's why Florida is honoring our African American pioneers of the faith within the Church of God of Prophecy. Join us in honoring Bishop Daniel Nairn. Bishop Daniel Nairn, a pioneer leader and former pastor of the Church of God of Prophecy in South Florida, was born in 1906 on the island of San Salvador, Bahamas. His father, Mitchell Nairn, and his uncle William migrated from Edinburgh, England to the Bahamas in the early 1900s. They became farmers on the island of San Salvador. Shortly after arriving in San Salvador, Michael and Richard met 2 African Bahamian ladies, Olive and Mona Anik, who were sisters. William married Olive, and Mitchell married her sister Mona. Mitchell and Mona were blessed with 2 children, Daniel and Amy. Young Daniel spent most of his early years helping his father on the farm, raising livestock and growing vegetables, while attending the all-age school on the small Bahamian island. At the age of 13, his father gifted him with a newborn calf to manage. In 1924, when Daniel reached the age of 18, he sold his cow and was able to collect enough money to travel to Nassau, Bahamas. After arriving in Nassau, Daniel learned of a recruiting program where the United States government was recruiting young men from the Bahamas through a contract with the Bahamian government to work in the United States. He immediately became interested and secured the necessary travel documents, purchased a boat ticket, and sailed to Miami, Florida. Upon arriving in Miami, he was told he was being assigned to Pahokee, Florida, where he would be employed at a sugarcane camp. While in Pahokee, he, along with some of the other workers, attended church services in the nearby city of Belglade. It was during one of these services that he accepted the Lord. Later, in one of those services, he met a young lady by the name of Sadie. Their friendship soon became serious, and on May 22nd, 1929, he married Sadie and moved to Miami, Florida. Shortly after arriving in Miami, he opened up a barber shop, the Sunset Shop. He became an active member of the Liberty City Church of God of Prophecy. Under the leadership of Pastor Joseph David Williams, Daniel continued to excel in ministry and was soon appointed as pastor of the Liberia Church, now the Hollywood Church of God of Prophecy, and district overseer, where he served from 1932 until 1950. In 1950, he was appointed by State Overseer M.S. Curry to replace the retiring Bishop Joseph Knowles. and served as pastor of the Miami No. 1 Church. He remained as pastor of the Miami No. 1 Church until his sudden death in January of 1957. Daniel Nairn was active in many areas of ministry. In addition to his pastoral assignment and evangelism activities, Daniel was a musician and one of the persons responsible for the early formation of the original Church of God of Prophecy Miami brass band. His greatest passion, however, was that of preaching the gospel. Bishop Daniel Nairn concluded his life's journey early on Thursday morning, January 17, 1957, shortly after returning home following the conclusion of a district convention session at the Miami No. 1 Church. It is an honor to celebrate Bishop Daniel Nairn as a pioneer of the faith.